the evolution of how governance is perceived and defined. Every day, we're inundated with news and issues competing for our attention. But sometimes, we have to step back and take a look at the grand sweep of the past. Maybe, then we can get a better idea about our emerging future. You see, humanity is on the cusp of another great transition, and we can learn a lot by taking a look at the ones we've already been through. How did people get from a condition of roaming around on the ancient savannah to looking out of skyscrapers onto Tokyo or Vancouver? What invisible forces drove such change? And if we can begin to see the pattern in those forces, do they offer clues about where we're going? The following is the visual overviews of 9 stages of evolution of governance. The very first stage is what we call clan. Humans once lived in family groups as part of extended clans. These nomadic hunter-gatherers roamed around to find resources, but as resources became scarce, clans had to find a better way 3 million years. The second stage is called kingdoms. With agriculture, people settled. These settlements coincided with the appearance of kings and taxation, because the threat of invasion required swift, coordinated action. Strong rulers emerged capable of defending resources against the barbarians and competing kingdoms. So based on historical records, that is 10,000 years ago probably. Come to the third one, empires. Dominant kingdoms develop new tactics to protect themselves and secure more resources. They expanded through conquest and the suppression of people in new territories. A hierarchy of governors managed the increasing complexity of the new empire. The things about empires, they eventually fall. Historical records, 4,000 years. Come to the fourth stage, called democracies. There are limits to what can be achieved through coercion. A more participatory system appeared in which power was given to the people in the form of votes. Democracy diluted the absolute power of authorities but introduced demagoguery and tyranny of the majority. Years back 3,000. Now come to the fifth stage, that is republics. As civilizations expanded, more decision-making power had to be delegated, and political power became increasingly subordinated to laws. But delegating power, especially military power, rests the return of empire. Would the rule of law be strong enough to ward off the rule of men? 2,000 years. Another level of stage is constitutional republics. Combining features of democracy with features of a republic, nations began to separate powers and set out basic rights through charter, subordinating more political power to the rule of law. But time changed, and power ends up on auction. Special interests collude with power such that the state has the power to pick winners and losers. The seventh stage of evolution, startup nations. In our future's first phase, rules will likely still be attached to a territory but will provide better governance options than otherwise available. As the world's complexity increases, we'll see more entrepreneurial solutions, startup societies or contract-based private cities, less dependent on monopoly states. Startup nations can be the stage of the beginning of change and innovations in the society. Comes to the second to the last stage. Number 8 is cloud governance. Advanced technologies make it possible to make laws in the cloud. Here, good rules can exist independent of territory and may or may not involve coercive hierarchies. Thus, people will be able to select different forms of association from a menu of governance options without relocating. And lastly, the evolution of stage where it ends. Number 9. Rules without rulers. The future of human organization is likely to mean most rules will neither attach to territory nor involve any power monopoly. Organizations are already pioneering hierarchy-free governance systems. Might this work on a global scale? Such systems allow self-organization, mimicking the natural world. Imagine teams within teams, changing with circumstances, solving with problems without violence. That is the world where we are living now. Thanks for staying tuned. The end.